Hi class, welcome to our weekly chat. Let's see if we can get this right this time. Sorry, there's been a few video issues today. Hopefully it works. Let's talk a little bit about what happened last week. You did your observational experiments and you did an awesome job. Thank you for that. I hope you can see that research can be used in a myriad of ways and that you can apply it to your real life to collect data going forward. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your participation in the discussion board. If some of you were concerned about my lack of participation, it is because when I participate, it shuts down the conversation. So I participate in about a third of the posts, but read all of them. And you guys did a great job. I appreciate the time and effort you put into those posts. So let's talk about what's happening next week. Your methods section is due on the 5th. Are you excited? I am pumped for that. Okay, the methods section is the recipe for your final project. This is where you say what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and why you're going to do it. This is also the section that future researchers will pay attention to replicate your study and validate the findings. So it needs to be somewhat detailed. Keep in mind that this section will be edited to reflect what actually happened, not just your plan, when we get to the end of the semester. So right now, this is going to be written in future tense because you haven't actually done anything. But at the end of the semester, you're going to go back and edit it, and it's going to be in past tense because you did it and it's done. We're not planning for something in the future because the semester is ending and we're all going to go on our merry ways and have 6 weeks of vacation, right? I don't know if that's really going to happen, but the project will be over, so it needs to be written in future tense at the end of the semester. All right. What needs to be included in the methods section? I've had some questions. I just want to clarify this. The sampling frame. Think of sampling frame as the population. The sampling frame is everyone that could possibly be included in your study. So if you're looking at BYU Idaho students, it is all BYU Idaho students. There's about 30,000 of them, maybe 25. But that information can easily be found online by Googling BYU Idaho demographics. Okay, so the sampling frame is everyone that can be included. The sample is those people selected for participation. So if you're looking at BYU Idaho students, the sampling frame is all BYU Idaho students. The sample is that 200 to 300 group of students that you receive from the IRB. If you are one of the groups that is looking at social media, and let's say you want to look at people ages 18 to 25 that use social media, then your sampling frame is all people ages 18 to 25 that use social media, but your sample is just the people that will be exposed to your post requesting people participate in your survey. So in that case, it's likely just your social media contacts. Sampling frame is big, sample is small. So you're going to describe your sampling frame. Who is included in that sampling frame? So if you're doing adults ages 18 to 25, you need to describe adults ages 18 to 25 that use that particular social media outlet. That information is available online. It is. You might have to hunt a little for it, but it is available. Significant research has been done on people that are using social media. You can find it. I know you can do it. If you are looking at BYU Idaho students, all of that information is readily available to you on the BYU Idaho website. You know who attends BYU Idaho. It is split down to the person level. So you can find that information and provide me a basic overview of the people that you are studying. You need to also provide a justification for why you have chosen to select from that sampling frame. It's not enough to say who they are, but you need to tell me why you selected them. So once you do that, you're going to move on to describing the survey. People have been asking, do we have to do the survey before we do the method section? No, you do not. But because you have completed your research questions, you have a general idea of what information you need to get from that survey and what basic topics will be covered. And that information needs to be included in the method section. So for example, if you are looking at stress and sleep in students, you know that you're going to look at things like academic pressure, midterms, financial pressures, things like that. You have an idea of some of those basic themes, and you need to include that information in the method section. You also should have a rough idea of the type of questions you want to use. Are you going to use the Likert scale? Are you going to use multiple choice? Are you going to use true, false? Are you going to use short answers? All of those things you need to talk about. You also need to describe who is the one that developed this survey. Was it you or was it taken from previous surveys? Taking questions from previous surveys isn't a bad plan. You are more than welcome to do this. You must cite it in the survey, but you are more than welcome to take questions from previous surveys if they are available to you. For example, all CDC surveys are available to you. All of the questions are available to you for free, and you are welcome to borrow from those as long as you cite them. You just have to go on the CDC website and find them. So keep that in mind. If someone has written a survey on your topic, you're welcome to borrow questions from it. All of their questions won't work for your particular study, but whatever you can use, don't reinvent the wheel, just use it. Also, one important thing to note, when you are describing the survey has a name. It's not our survey for 391. It is, for example, if you are looking at RSV and RSV awareness, it would be RSV Awareness Among College Students Survey. Then shorten that down into a little acronym and you will refer to it by that acronym throughout the remainder of your project. Isn't that cool? I think it's pretty cool. So you need to name that. You need to describe the types of questions, how it was done, how you came to the conclusion that, yeah, we're probably not going to borrow questions from other people. Then once you have that done, you need to describe the survey distribution. Okay, you have this beautiful survey written. Now what are you going to do with that? How are you going to distribute it? I would venture to say the vast majority of you are going to distribute it using an electronic survey administered through either Qualtrics, which is available to you free through BYU Idaho, and you sign up for an account on the BYU Idaho website, not on Qualtrics, on the BYU Idaho website, or using Google Forms, also free to you. It's part of the Google package of programs. You're going to describe why you've chosen to use an electronic survey. Because my teacher said is not a reason. It's kind of a good reason, but it's not a good reason for this. What are the advantages of using an electronic survey? What are the disadvantages of using an electronic survey? You also need to describe, we're going to back up a little bit. You need to describe how people were selected for participation in your survey. How do you plan to recruit them? For example, we're going to put a post on Facebook with a request, or we're going to send out an email. And how was the sampling, what sampling method was chosen? If you are using social media, you are using a convenient sample. You are not using a snowball sample. You are not using a stratified sample. You are not doing anything other than a convenient sample. A convenient sample is not without its limitations, which please describe those, but it's good for this class. And why is it good? Because you can collect a lot of data quickly and inexpensively. You need to say that. If you are using social media, you are using a convenient sample. Why are you using a convenient sample? Because you can collect a lot of data quickly for very little money. Please say that. If you are using BYU Idaho students, you are using a simple random sample because the IRB has a database with all BYU Idaho students, and they randomly select people for participation in your study. It is a simple random sample. It is not a snowball sample. It is not a stratified sample. It is a simple random sample. That being said, if you are one of the groups that wants to stratify that sample, that is something that we can very easily do by adding specific questions to the survey, and you can stratify your respondents once the results start to come in. But we don't want to limit the number of people who are eligible for participation in the study, because if you try and do that, you will create problems for yourself and you will be sad. Okay, sorry, let's skip on back ahead. So you're going to talk about how that survey is going to be distributed, why you've chosen the electronic survey, what are some of the limitations to that. Finally, you're going to talk about the data analysis. This will be maybe 1 to 2 sentences where you talk about what program you're going to use. Decide now, either SPSS, Excel, or Google Sheets. What are you going to do? If you are one of the groups that decides to go the Google Forms way, you're probably going to use Google Sheets. It's just, they pair together so nicely. Okay. And then you're going to talk about some of the themes that will be explored. Well, you won't know specifically because those those survey questions aren't written yet. You have an idea of some of the themes that need to be explored based on reading those research questions that you wrote and turned in yesterday. So that's what we're going to do with the methods. It needs to be fairly detailed so someone could replicate it. It needs to be fairly detailed so that you can follow those steps and collect your data as the semester continues. Remember, your final paper, it has a 6-page limit. So this section is going to be between 1 and 2 pages double-spaced. It means you need to be concise, like this video, and you need to make sure all of that relevant information is in there. Once again, I am more than happy to review your surveys too, but your methods section in advance of the due date. If you send it to me by Monday, June 3rd at 5 p.m., I will review it for you. Please, 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 I cannot stress this enough. If you would like it to be reviewed, please email it to me. Do not submit it on Canvas because I'm not looking for it on Canvas and you won't get the feedback you need. If it has been more than 24 hours and you haven't received a response, assume that one of my children got my phone and deleted your email and you need to follow up with me. I apologize if that happened. If I could keep them away from the phone, I would. But just if it's been more than 24 hours, send me a follow-up. I want to make sure that you get the feedback you need in a timely fashion. Okay, that's what we're going to do with the method section. It's going to be awesome. It's the recipe. People are going to follow it. Then they're going to replicate your study and validate your findings. Isn't that awesome? But in order to do that, we need details. We need the sampling frame. We need to know how you're going to sample, the sampling method. We need you to discuss the survey, including naming it. We need to talk about data distribution, and we need to talk, or survey distribution, and we need to talk about data analysis. Awesome. The following week, we are going to move into the survey. This is going to be a great and busy time for you. As you start to think about the survey, start thinking about what kind of survey questions would be threatening and how you can change those so they're not quite so threatening. Remember, your survey is going to focus on perception, awareness, and understanding of certain topics. So you might say something like, in your experience or in your opinion. It softens it, makes it less personal. People get less defensive. Remember, those survey questions are probably also going to need a specific time frame. For example, in your experience over the past 2 weeks, on average, how many times did you brush your teeth per day? The question is a little wordy and confusing. It's okay, but it shortens down what we're looking at. Just keep in mind that when you ask someone, how often do you brush their teeth? Mentally, they're going to shorten it to about a 2-week period. So you want to make sure that you shorten it for them so you know specifically, and so you can say in your results specifically, they report it. And people are going to feel defensive about things that you might not feel defensive about. If you would feel uncomfortable asking your mother a question, then maybe you're really close with your mom and there's not a lot of questions that you'd feel uncomfortable asking her. But if there's a question you would feel uncomfortable asking your mother, your next door neighbor, something that you think they might seem a little uneasy on, those are things that we need to be really careful with and we need to word correctly. The survey questions will be revised multiple times. They just will. Make sure you do a great job your first time out and we can focus on those problem questions as we go through. Again, I'm happy to edit those. But this week we're focusing on the method section and it is going to be awesome. Please let me know if you have any questions. Email me, text me. If you don't get a response within 24 hours, assume I've lost my mind with summer. It's been fried by the heat. Apparently we're having a heat wave in Georgia, and follow up with me and I will get back to you. I want to make sure that I am responding to your questions, that you're not floating out there confused and angry. So if you have a question, let me know. If you don't get a response within 24 hours, not within 24 minutes, within 24 hours, please follow up and I'll make sure you get your response. I hope that you all have a fantastic week. Welcome to summer.